because there is a lot of arm soreness.
Mhm.
Fixed paper rub.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
Really?
I mean, unbelievable. Because it's sore or whatever, you just rub it on, boom.
Wow.
And of course, that was,
So no Sue.
I didn't notice that. I made sure that.
And we don't have Kathleen and
yeah, that's what I did too.
Karen, we're still waiting on. Right?
But it woke me up at night,
thank
the
you.
first 2 nights.
Wrong.
Because
Oh,
I
boy.
was rolling
Thank
from
you,
my
such
left
nice
side, and it
manners.
was
We
like,
don't need
oh,
that.
yeah, you know,
And we
and then,
will
you know, and then you go back to
go
sleep, and then you
ahead.
come up and you roll on my left side. It's
Look
like,
at, oh, I don't
oh,
want to
yeah,
do
yeah.
I just
That
want
would
to
have been the
close.
magic cure.
And-
I'm being
oh.
dead serious. I mean, it's too
Yeah.
late now.
Right.
But then, Lynn,
But that was my only, for Moderna, that was it.
same, just a little bit,
A
round
little,
one.
sore, a little
And
sore
I felt
locally.
bad. So I said, because Annette went first and she had symptoms. So she did have the arm soreness and she did get the chills. Then I went the next morning and so she's like, how are you doing? I'm like, fine. And I go, oh, I think I have a little arm soreness. Can we put some Vicks? Yeah, just so we put a little Vicks.
It's not gonna
paper-
hurt anything.
Yeah, it's gonna put a little Vicks paper rub. Then same for you, Lynn, round two.
Nothing. I mean, no,
Nothing. I mean, no, not even any arm soreness.
no, nothing at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I'm just, but yeah, I mean, we slept a lot.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So
Just
mute
like
is
that.
off. So do they hear us? Does anybody hear us? Yes, you
Yes,
hear us?
Amber's
Okay,
shaking her
all right. I
head.
wanted to make sure that was the case because we're not hearing anything from anyone else, but you're all muted, so
Killed
we're
it
good.
Over the past year. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's what everybody talked about. Everybody's recommending shows and everybody's doing, because, but now it's different.
You
Oh, thank you.
Oh, and this
Are we
one.
ready to get this party
I
started?
also have a revised agenda. I added one thing rather than making it other business.
And it's
Okay.
it's a no-brainer, it's an annual contract, that we
Okay.
always do, so.
And full disclosure, I already talked to Lynn about this, but I have to be on the road, like
By 8 o'clock?
by 8 o'clock, before 8 o'clock.
Oh.
Because I have
Do
to
it,
go down to
do
East
it.
State. Yeah,
That's okay.
so I'm not saying it's gonna be a speed meeting, but I'm
I'm ready to write.
It's pretty much.
No
easy
sidebars.
stuff. Yeah. it's
no
easy stuff.
sidebars, business. But I mean, if it goes beyond, I just have to leave.
Does anyone need anything like the correspondence or the announcements?
Oh, no. I've been, I've just been using my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
Because
That's
I've
what I
got, I did make some copies of paper copies,
Did we have a limit for tonight's attendance?
A limit?
So like if there's 8 of us, could all have 8 have come if they wanted, or do we have to limit that?
So technically, the new orders are that if you're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you can behave.
We can run around the whole
You could
building.
be, but the library, I'll get to that point, because I have to read it again. We just got
At the
information
time of
from.
our last meeting, I think we
We
were
were
talking
moving.
about that. We were moving that way, but we didn't know if we were gonna.
Yeah.
In order to.
And I was,
So
and I
it's
was
like
gonna,
this, right.
I was gonna argue that I don't want
Oh,
that. Try to go back to some normalcy.
Yes. Yes.
It's great to see everybody in person.
Yes, it
And
is.
to see their full face.
Yeah.
I mean, have you had, I'm sure it's happened to you, you've been in the store and somebody speaks to you and you go, oh.
Who are
wow.
you? Who are
This
you?
is it right here. I got my Ohio State one.
eyes, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we ready to get this party started? Everybody ready? Tanya, Harold, Heather. Boom.
Yes.
Party begins.
No Kathleen, right?
She was going to be coming in as, she's got, her floors are being done in her house. And so she's with her daughter right now. And I did send the link to her daughter so that they could get on from her computer, but I do not see her yet and I don't see a text. So
Harold is here. Barb.
Here.
I didn't see Karen yet. Tracy?
Yes.
And no Sue.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay, any public participation?
No, I have not been contacted by anyone, but I do see that we are joined by managers Tanya Hensley, Amber B. Kraft Johnson, and Heather Patton.
Hello, managers.
Hello.
Next on the agenda, approval of the minutes from the April 2020 regular meeting. So I will need a motion or any questions.
I move.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Karen. No, she's not here. Who did I mark out? Barb
Yes.
I'm coming in, right?
and Tracy.
Yes.
Yes, Karen is coming right now.
Oh, Karen's here.
Oh, that's right.
Karen's here.
So we had, Annette, I will stop it was positive. And then I was tested twice, negative twice. My oldest, who I know, or my youngest boy, who I know was exposed, no question at school, negative. And then my youngest daughter, negative. So we were having to have in the household. I swear it's your blood type. Are you O? Okay, Lynn, are you O?
Am I low?
O, blood type?
Blood type.
I have no idea.
I bet you are.
Low.
Yes, I'm very low, like 5 feet tall.
Low. Hi, guys.
I think I am
Hi.
O positive, but I can't
Because
remember.
the O people
Are
seem to,
you good?
I don't want to say we're special.
Oh, I think it's so
We're special. And if you're left-handed, you're even more special.
Yes, yes.
Sorry.
I know a lot of left-handed people.
All right, so on to correspondence.
Here, let me pull it out.
On to correspondence. Oh, yeah, that's me, right? Okay. That is me. So, Public Library Fund for May looks really good, but it actually was a little bit down because if you remember, the state taxes were extended. So not the full collection did not happen in April. So any little bit should be made up in the coming month. But still, that's a nice, healthy deposit into our account. So we're happy about that. We did send a letter this month in support of a grant for childcare resources. We do participate in things like the Success by Six program and supporting them, and also doing outreach to childcare centers and Head Start. So we thought it was important to help them with that. And then as far as Ohio Library Council goes, budget. State budget is pretty much all we're hearing about right now, except when people drop new pandemic-related bombshells, and we'll get to that later. But right now, it's still time to be contacting our Senator Terry Johnson, and letting him know how important libraries are and to keep the funding. I believe I sent everyone, the board members, some information about that. I'll send another one. So if you want to, you can pass it along to someone who would really take the time to kind of tell their library story to the senator. We do know that we have a lot of people in the Senate on our side and proposing amendments to keep the funding, but enough people have to vote yes to keep that in. And then there's even the, making it conference committee with the House to make it pass. So let's keep up with that. You may have heard about funding that's coming down from the federal government about broadband support. There's one right now that's about emergency broadband, and it is targeted to individuals, citizens, not to agencies like ourselves. But we are asked to help support that by getting the information out to our residents, which of course is part of our job. And so we've got something in the works right now to help roll out that information so people know about it. So if you know of anyone who's not got decent internet service. Yeah.
Isn't that
As soon as we get the
all?
information, Karen, we'll send it along to you and maybe you can, yeah, here comes
There's a
Kathleen.
lot of us that don't have
Yes.
decent anything.
Particularly in this area. And, and there will be money coming from the state. There's actually a grant that's set up so that areas that are underserved will have an opportunity to get better service. But my understanding is that vendors actually have to be the ones who apply for the grants and then roll it out in your area. So I'm trying to have this conversation with commissioners and economic development and the chamber so that we can say, okay, who do we know? Who do we want to come in here and you know, make a plan for giving us support if we can do it on a county level. I'm not sure that's the case, but we want to make sure that, you know, all of our areas get the best service they possibly can. So really, I mean, like I said, budget is the big thing. And then we also have had the opportunity to participate in the virtual library trustee town halls. And I did the first one that was on the 10th of May. And I believe I didn't write this in announcements instead. Oh, too many pieces of paper here. The one I had listened to was Senator Jay Hottinger, Licking County, Perry, Coshocton, Carter, Hawking, that area. Very passionate about libraries, talked a lot about our past funding and how the public library fund, even though what it was at 1.7%, we never got in all the money that was projected just because of shortfalls going into this, you know, into the state budget. So he was very well versed, and you know, just kind of gave us some information about you know, you need to keep talking to your senators, make sure they know your stories, make sure your legislators know your stories, and continue developing relationships with them. I don't know if anyone else was able to attend any to this point or had any further, you know, heard something different.
Right. I think the other thing that he stressed was state revenues and sales tax have looked good, but there's been a lot of that PPP money out there and a lot of stimulus money, and so they're not certain that that will remain.
False positives, I think, was he said, is that what he used?
I just talked about you know, the sales tax collection looks good now, but.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so I think it's right. You know, we were told to expect a 20% drop in funding, you know, because of the effects of the pandemic, and we never realized that. But we also know that a lot of money has been poured in artificially. And so when that dries up, you know, what's going to be the impact? And so I think it still is wise, prudent to proceed with caution, you know, as far as budget goes, not just because we don't know what the state budget's going to look like, but because there may be a number of false positives out in the general economy right now. So that's all I got.
Lynn is done.
Lynn is
Okay. On to Miss Sarah in financial reports.
Thank you. Appropriation summary under library services for the month of April compared to, I'm comparing March to April. Salaries were at $56,589. That was down about $3,000. Employee fringe benefits, $16,259, up about $3,000. So that's probably from the salaries. Purchased and contract services, $16,172. That was up about $2,200 from March. Library materials and information, $13,739. That was down about $8,000. Supplies, $1,700, down about $600. Total month-to-date expenditures, $110,627, down about $14,000 from March. Bank reconciliation report, receipts, we had $63,455, Payments, $110,644. Bank balance after payments and receipts was $1,041,975. Bank balances, that's where we got that from the People's Bank, First State, and Star, Ohio. Outstanding payments, I have 2 payments from April that have not cleared. One is Adamson Fire Protection for $5.90. Another is Nick's Landscaping Property for $823. He's super slow at cashing checks right now. I'm sure he's super busy. General fund cash flow actual for April. PLF for April was $56,031. We received services provided from other entities, $6,890. Other receipts, $516. For a total money brought into the general fund was $63,438. General fund expenditures, I already kind of talked about those. That was a total of $104,504. Leaving our cash balance for the general fund, $854,075. The cash summary fund, expenditures for April from all of the funds, $110,627. April 2021 expenditure reconciliation report. For the month of April, our payments were $41,871. Our 2 payrolls for April 15th and April 30th, you can see those numbers. Our retirement, $8,011. Medicare portion for the board portion was $798. Health insurance, $4,344. Local taxes, employee insurance, for a total month-to-date expenditure of $110,627. Any payment listing, any questions for the payments? Okay. And then open POs, I'm happy to report all 2020 POs have officially been closed. Yay! Open POs for 2021, $129,601. Questions?
Excellent job, Sarah. Excellent job.
Thank you.
I actually have a question. I want to make sure everybody out there in the virtual world can hear us okay. Volume's still good? Okay.
Any questions from the Zoom people?
Sometimes, Lynn, for example, when you were talking earlier, it was sort of muted. And then when you started searching for your papers, then it came back in a full volume.
Okay, I will be careful to enunciate clearly and loudly. I don't really have a teacher voice, but I guess I can make myself have one. Enunciation. Okay.
Well, if there are no questions from the floor, we need a motion.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes,
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we want to make sure that we got Kathleen written in that she should join us.
Oh, she.
Yeah, she
okay.
came just before the financials.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Kathleen.
Yes? No?
I think she's not hearing anything.
I don't
Not
see
hearing
her.
us?
Isn't that her in the middle?
Which one?
In the middle?
Oh, that is.
Yes,
that is.
yes.
Yeah.
Hey, someone put their
So
glasses on.
Kathleen, can you hear us? Well, no video.
Raise your right hand if you can hear us. Boy, she's on mute.
Well, she is on mute, but I'm not sure she was actually hearing us. Looked like they
I
were
didn't feel like
fiddling
it
with
was
the,
here, yeah.
the volume, the settings. of the
Somebody
volume.
was with her.
So Kathleen is having work done at her home, and so she's staying with her daughter right now. So
Oh,
that's,
that's why.
yes, yes.
So what do we do about Kathleen?
So, well, I guess you might want to just make a note that she is, she's tried to join, but unless and until so we just won't ask her to vote, because if she can't hear us.
Video handicap.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. This is so nice to be in this.
Same room.
We missed all the discussions.
I know.
It was so exciting.
It is.
Okay,
Okay, so we're good there. Let's
Yay.
move on to, the audit of 2019 and 2020 fiscal years.
That was
you're
a-
the fiscal
that was
officer.
that was a learning experience. So I think we're very happy with the results. I didn't put that on in Dropbox. Should I?
I would say they do need,
Okay.
yes, they do need
Okay.
to see the results. I mean,
Okay.
we've been back and
Yeah.
forth with the auditors because we got a preliminary report, and so we needed to respond to a couple of things, and
Yeah,
so
we just
we
signed it
just,
today.
I was gonna say, we just got the letter
Yeah.
today.
So I will put it in Dropbox
And send it out.
tomorrow.
Well,
And just a side note, everything was either found no exceptions or amount agreed. So it was, I was
Yep.
very happy with my first, it was, a year and a half audit, but I was,
Congratulations.
thanks.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
From what I hear, there's even a bigger audit after this.
yes, this was agreed upon procedures, which is I think we can do it 2 cycles in a row,
Okay.
maybe 3, and then the next one is a full blown. So they limit the number of things that they pull to check, even though they're checking all of the things that they should be checking, but it's not as in.
They took everything from my office.
It isn't like. just-
I don't recall a regular audit. Have we had one lately?
It may have been, we may be due for a full blown. Truthfully, Harold, I thought we were due for the full blown this time, but they may have chosen not to because of the pandemic, and they may have written some regulations to extend it one more time, because I think we're 1 cycle beyond, but they do 2 years at a time. So the last full blown one, he would have been 4, 6
Okay.
years ago.
Yeah.
And it was, I can't remember if Vivian did it or not. I'm pretty sure she probably was here. for it.
She was preparing me for the big one.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Should I drop that in the financials?
You can drop it in the financials and
Hello.
also,
I'm the clean lady.
excuse me, just for a minute.
If you know.
Yeah, Karen, we were all excited, showing up at the front door and good to see you. You missed all the hugs and.
I know,
It
missed
was,
all
it
that
was,
stuff.
it was
Hey,
joyous.
I'm
and-
lucky. I have company and thank goodness they had a date to meet old classmates tonight. So thank goodness. Because I was trying to figure out the last night I should be home
I put it in
making
Dropbox.
food.
Okay,
but
I
we
think
don't
we'll
have to make food.
email it to
Well,
you
we're
directly
kind-
as
we're
well.
kind of rushing through, Lynn's got to leave all that, so.
Yeah.
we're kind of rushing through.
I guess my point is, I don't see having problem with agreed upon procedures. It's just a minor detail, I think.
Okay.
Yes. So Kathleen's trying again here. I keep admitting her, so something is going wonky on her side. So hopefully she'll be able to join us soon. But yes, we will send the report letter to you all. It's in Dropbox
I just put it
already,
in Dropbox.
but we will also
Okay.
send it to you directly so that you can see for yourselves that it was a clean, yes, which was nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, then moving on, we need a motion to approve the 2022 budget proposal.
Yeah, so paper, you all got lots of goldenrod
Yes, we did.
paper. There are 28 sides to that. Bless you.
Oh, bless you.
And it probably looks worse than it is. And if it seems a little bit overwhelming, my mantra at my home is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So we're going to take this one little bite at a time, but we're not going to belabor anything, because this is the budget that goes to the county commissioners because they are our taxing authority. And so we need to send it to them so they can record its receipt, but they do not act upon it in any other way. They do not make budgeting decisions. It also goes to the County Budget Commission, which is made up of the auditor and the prosecutor and the county treasurer. And they are the ones who make the decision about how the public library fund money is divided between the county's two library systems. So that's what this document is about. And then we use this sort of as a basis for actually creating a spending plan once we know what the money coming in is. Now, yes, unfortunately, at this time of the year, we're projecting for next year, and we have no idea what the state budget is going to be, and we have no idea whether local taxes are going to continue coming in at the level they're coming in. So it's guessing. But the first one, and what you'll see is at the very top of each page, it tells you which fund we're talking about. Okay, so the first one is the general fund. That's our general operating fund. That's really the big deal, most important one, as far as either the budget commission or the commissioners are concerned. We have to show them what last year's actuals were. Of course, we all know that comparing last year to anything doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's there to show you what we did. And then this year, I kind of tweaked what we had planned to do with where we already are in the year, and then looked at next year as what do we really need to be doing in our library system to be able to provide the services we need, to do the upkeep, the wages, all of that. So on the very first page is actually just a cover page that the Budget Commission fills out. And then if you flip it over, you'll see general fund receipts. So that's the money coming in. I anticipated a little bit of a drop in the state's money because we do not know between what the PLF will be set at and what the economy is going to bring into the state's coffers. We really don't know what we're going to see. And the same kind of, I left local taxes about level with what we anticipate this year, although you can see it did come in, pretty strong in 2020.
That's about a 7% drop.
Yeah, bottom line is about $50,000 at the end of the year, because we also, while we were temporarily fine-free during the pandemic, we made that a permanent thing. And so any residual, tie up loose ends kinds of payments, that's really going to go, will have gone away this year. And so we might see, a little bit here and there paid for lost materials, but there's not going to be fine money coming in. So that really dries up. And then the next two
I asked
pages.
a question earlier
Yes.
about that fine money. So what is going into Fayetteville's account at this point then? Nothing?
Well, I don't know, Amber, if you can give a sense of how much in terms of deposits you've been making.
Well, just recently I deposited $60 or $70 for a lost item. So we're still collecting lost item collections and depositing them into the bank. And then in addition, we still have hotspot fines. So those could be collected also.
Okay, thank you.
But Harold, that is a good point because it will probably keep on going downward a little bit and level off except for those items. And in terms of expenditures, so the next two pages of the general fund are what we plan to spend, or what we think we should spend, maybe is a better way to describe it. And again, not unreasonable changes. One of the things I've been trying to make sure is that we do in terms of wages is that we keep incrementally increasing so that we can remain competitive that's another one of those things that's, lots of discussion, $15 an hour minimum wage, how would that impact us? I don't know. That certainly is not accommodated in this proposal, but we need to keep making that incremental progress. Otherwise, in the general fund, trying to remain in balance with what we spend on materials. There's a little bit more money in terms of building improvements because our buildings are not getting any younger. And while major things would be happening in the capital projects fund, there are sometimes smaller things that we want to do. We need to replace some tables or some, shelving that might be accommodated there. Bottom line for the general fund shows about almost a $300,000 deficit. So that means that, we know we need to spend more money than is available to us. And of course, we wouldn't actually do that in our real spending plan, but that's the reality of our lives in this library world. The other funds are, I'm not going to go line by line, but I'm just going to point them out. The Purdon Grant Fund is for the Georgetown Library. That's something that we have been getting every year pretty consistently for a number of years. So we leave that fund there for programming primarily. The Technology Fund is the next one. That's fund number 2002. If you're looking at the fund numbers on the upper right of your pages, this is one of those where we need to make sure that every year we are taking money left at the end of the year from the general fund and putting some into this fund to make sure that our technology, we keep up with technology. It might be about time for some, server upgrades and or software upgrades, and in addition to our devices that we need to use. So that's what that takes care of. You'll also see the next one is the Cook Grant. That one we've talked a lot about in this last year. So that does show estimating in, another larger than usual, but not, $100,000 next year for the building project that we've been talking about. So that's in there just in case, but you might end up having to do an amended certificate. That's just the way life goes. Paramount Grant is another one that we've been getting pretty consistently from ProMedica, I believe is actually their official name. We do know, though, that their funding sources, one of their funding sources or revenue structures has not been renewed. So while we are getting the money this year, we do not know about next year. We actually are writing, Amber really is the one who's taking care of most of this, writing a letter of support, for them, for their funding, so that we could hopefully continue that relationship. Sardinia project is still in there. We would still look at putting, again, some money from general fund into it, to help match and help do the projects. My hope is that things really settle out this year so that we can get back to that and get moving on that one and seek some additional fundings for that project.
I realize that it's very difficult under the present budgetary circumstances to make a hard, fast rule, but where are we in our thinking about how soon or quickly the Sardinia project might take place?
If we could be assured that we had, money coming in the next year, we could get the architecture piece of it in progress this year. We could, put out for and interview potential architects. I know we've got some plans that Mr. Harley left us, but obviously he's retired. And so, really we'd need to, take those. And if we wanted to use those as a basis, make that part of our request for proposals. But I don't see anything stopping us from doing that part at least getting it started this year.
Where is the 750,000 coming from?
That is our private donor.
Okay, I thought it was more like 250.
No, it was at least, I believe, 500,000, but
That was six.
6.
Okay.
So
600.
So somewhere between the 500,000 and the 750,000. And this is one of those that, you know, if we can go back and affirm that pledge or whatever the pledge is, that's something that we can then take to other potential funders and say, listen, we've got this. And it's really good leverage for a match to get other kinds of funding rather than having to go the route of seeking a loan, which would be my last choice, but.
Well, I guess my point is that I don't want us to get lost in the COVID atmosphere. and
Right.
Forget about this project.
No, I agree. And I think that's something we probably need to talk about, you know, at some point is, you know, are economic conditions right, you know, for doing this? But yeah, it will be time to go back to it. That's why I continue to keep this fund open and we keep planning for it.
And currently lumber prices are pretty low.
Yeah, lumber prices, yeah,
Yeah, right.
this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
that
no
money
further
wouldn't buy
demand.
us what it would have a couple of years ago. Yes, absolutely. But we're not letting it go, Harold. No fears there.
Thank you.
And then the next fund is the capital projects, and that's, you know, all the system-wide kinds of improvements, like when HVAC systems break or, you know, all of those kinds of things. And again, that's one that every year we take money from general fund and put it into the capital projects fund. You know, I'd like to see us build that fund up so that we never have less than $250,000 in it, because our buildings are just not getting any younger. None of us are getting any younger. And then,
Really?
yeah, that's astute, isn't it? No, yeah, every bone in my body says you're not getting any younger. And then the last two funds are just the coronavirus relief funds that we had last year that have been completely finished, but because we have to show what we did in 2020, that's why they're there. And I don't know that if we actually got additional funds this year from some other federal funding source, I don't know if we'd be allowed to use those fund numbers. They probably would assign different ones, so. Okay.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah.
Would it be helpful to have some kind of a third party come in and evaluate the buildings so that we have some exact dollar figure to shoot for?
For capital improvements in general?
Yes.
Actually, because of what we're doing with the Georgetown project, we have made contact with someone who looks at least at the outer envelope of a building and determines its weatherworthiness, environmental, you know, what kinds of things need to be done on the outside to ensure that it's, you know, structurally sound and will not, you know, let the elements in. And because we're pursuing this potentially with the Georgetown project, we do have a lead then for doing that same thing for the other buildings as well. I am not certain, you know, if there's anyone in our county engineer's office who might do that.
Ever a concern for code upgrades?
I have not heard, except for like fire, when we have things, they will let us know about that kind of code. And other than that, I don't know if Heather, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you have talked to Dan Volz, our HVAC guy. So beyond when we have to replace something and there's a new R factor for the Freon, that's the only time we actually have to make the change. You don't have to do it all at once.
Okay.
But
So are we putting Heather on the spot? Or?
yeah, she's not going to answer probably.
Poor Heather.
She'll talk later, won't she?
All I know is that every time I talk to Dan, he points out my very aging units.
Yeah.
And I go, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just run them until we can't anymore.
And one of them is on the agenda tonight, as a matter of fact. So yes. So that is it for budget, but the board needs to officially approve it so I can then send it along to the other parties.
So
We approve.
I'll second.
Mark,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
and Kathleen.
She said yes. So-
Okay.
She's muted or something.
All right, on to the librarian's report, and we're starting with building report and statistics.
So now, any questions about anything you saw on the building report? And just FYI, I don't know if anybody knows those cute little kids.
Adorable.
I
picture.
don't know these cute kids.
Adorable picture.
They might have something to do with one of our staff members.
I sit very close to her.
Are
Yes,
these yours?
these are
Mhm. Mine are
Megan's.
a little-
These are
Oh, these are
Megan's.
Megan's.
Yes,
Megan.
they are.
Where is the location of this picture?
This is at
Cute, cute.
this is Megan's backyard, I believe, and that's a project they did at the Mount Orab Library.
Oh, gosh, that's cute.
But I don't recognize the background. Where is that?
Yeah, the background, I think that's at their home.
Okay.
We don't have outdoor.
Yeah,
seating
unfortunately,
like
we
that?
do
No.
not have a nice little patio like that at the library.
So
Yeah.
cute.
Kept trying to figure out where the patio was.
We wish, Harold, we wish. Any questions, thoughts? I will say in general, as we're opening up, we're having more of the patron-related experiences that you might be reading about. I know our youth team has been working very hard to prepare for summer reading program, which is coming up soon. So,
I like the
I'll look
brochure.
forward to
I
it.
thought the brochure was
yes,
cute.
you did get a brochure.
Very good, yes.
Yeah.
That's good, good, good. Mm.
And if no questions, managers, you have something you want to tell?
I was interested in the SEO app, and I guess I haven't looked at that. The self-checkout, how does that work?
Have you used the SEO app at all, Harold?
Well, I think I have, but I'm not sure about the self-check.
It's easy peasy. If you have the SEO Libraries app, you have to have it inside of the library. And when you have it inside the library, whatever book that you find you want to check out, sorry, mine's like trying to load, right on the front of your screen, there's well, I can't hold it up because I have a background on my computer.
Okay.
It's called self-service. And you just click it and you can scan the barcode and it just puts it, and you get a receipt inside of your app.
Okay, so it's an app that's available inside the library then.
Yeah, well, it's an app that you download on your phone. The app you
I
can
understand
use.
that, but I
Oh.
mean, it's to be used inside the library.
Yes, because it is all based on location, and they've got it tracked down to the location of the library.
Okay, I understand now.
And I will just say that, and this is just me and my schedule, typically, I didn't check out a lot of materials because by the time I had a chance during the day to go and hunt for things that I might want, the library was closed and everything was shut down, and I wasn't gonna turn on the circulation system and check something out. But I have checked out more things using the self-service app in the last 2 months than probably all the last 2 years.
That's awesome.
It's very
Good, good.
convenient,
Yeah, that is
very
awesome.
convenient.
And I don't know if you guys have ever used it when you're outside of the library, but there is a really cool little feature where you can search by ISBN. So if you're in a bookstore, you can just scan the barcode and it brings it right up in the catalog and you can request it. Not that I've done that like several times.
Okay, that's good.
We actually, SEO, who provides the app template for us, in the last 2 weeks has done user meetings. And so we have learned that there are a lot more things we can put on the app, like put our calendar of events on it.
Very cool.
Yeah, so,
Very cool.
so we will be enhancing it in the future.
Okay.
Yes, we will.
And nobody uses calendars. It's all on your phone. Events, calendars, when old school. way.
I need that big visual
I have that
picture.
here. I have
Yeah.
a huge desk one on mine.
On
Yep,
the
I-
Sons, on the Sons of the American Revolution, I'm trying to think, isn't there a local man that's in charge of that program?
Yeah, it says local chapter, Harold.
Who was that?
It's under Sardinia.
Sardinia.
Yeah.
It's Sardinia. I can't
Yeah.
think of his name right offhand, but yes, there is us. We have one main contact that we keep up with that reserves the room and meets there. But this was their first time doing a Zoom meeting. So that was really cool because they were super excited to be able to use our Wi-Fi and come together and use our meeting room to do Zoom with the rest of the chapters. So
I've been trying to think of his name for the last couple of weeks. And I think he was, if I get it right, he was a teacher at Fayetteville. You know that?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, so
It's okay.
There are more people coming in the building, so there's that kind of use. But the big thing that I wanted to point out is if you had a little sticker shock from the discarded line, because there were so many, we had some spring book sales. And so you're seeing some of the numbers from that, but also in the Georgetown building, we're preparing for this potential renovation. So we are doing some major weeding that has not been done at this level before. So that's where you're seeing some of those bigger numbers, but particularly with Fayetteville and Sardinia, I mean, that's about normal. 500-ish items per month is really about where it needs to be. And if there aren't any other questions, we can be done with statistics too.
Any questions from the Zoom people?
I did opt not to give you all those detailed reports, but I think maybe on a quarterly basis, we'll give you some of those updated detailed reports about some of the electronic usage.
Okay, then on to announcements, Lynn.
Oh, me still. All righty. So announcements. I will not bore you by reading anything, but I will say that in terms of community things going on, we do have a lot of stuff going on. The chamber is actually having its first in-person meeting that is at a location other than its office tomorrow. It's going to
I can't hear you. I don't know whether you can hear me or not.
I can hear you, Harold, but I can't hear anybody else.
Lynn, you were freezing up, but right now you're muted. So if you're talking, we definitely can't hear you.
Okay, I am, yeah, I don't know, it must have been something maybe in the, either my screen was inactive too long or something, but it looks like we're all still here.
Well, it wouldn't be the Wi-Fi here, top-notch Wi-Fi.
I'm thinking it shouldn't be the Wi-Fi, but you never know, right? So is it okay now? You can hear all right?
I
Okay,
can.
okay, good, good, good. Yeah, I just saw my screen go blank and I thought, oh, no. So yes, the chamber is meeting at Brown County Rural Water tomorrow. So that will be really nice for a change for that group to be able to meet. I know that Amber's been meeting with several different organizations, and I did put down that the Safety Net, which is one of the newer county groups that's trying to meet a lot of different needs, is actually going to have a food distribution. Did I get it right? June 12th at 10 a.m. in Aberdeen. Is that sound right to you? Maybe.
That sounds right.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me, so I can't say for sure, but that's mostly accurate anyways.
Well, I've heard it at several meetings, so I know they're really trying to get the word going around. And then Heather, I don't know if there's anything you want to say about the GRIT meeting countywide. Brown County has been a little bit slower to adopt GRIT than some of the surrounding counties, but I think we're finally on track with that. And there's going to be a countywide meeting June 8th at 6:30 at the Career Center here in Georgetown. My understanding is that there may be some state and local officials, as in our senator and or representative there. So if you want to bend their ears about anything, you could go. It's a free meeting, and it's about, GRIT is about growing rural independence together through jobs. So it's about workforce development, internships, and lots of different things related to that. So feel free. If you wanted more information, let me know. We'll get the information to you.
I was just gonna say, you do have to RSVP for that. So if you are interested, just let us know and we can let Becky Crocker know.
Yeah.
It's kind of past the point that she had asked for RSVPs, but the other day she did say that they would take more people. We can't hear you again, Lynn.
You're unmuted, but there's no sound.
Lynn, sometimes when the internet's wonky, it helps if you turn your camera off. That might help. So stop your video for a second and see if that helps. You'll get better bandwidth. to
Okay,
your
if you
sound
cannot
stop
hear
your
me,
camera. There you go.
I will stop the meeting and start it again. I hate to
You
do
might just
that.
be able to just stop your camera and keep going.
They're not.
Oop, never mind.
But you're the host now, Tracy.
They're back.
I gave Tracy the hosting so I wouldn't dump you all when I left the meeting. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. So here we are. Let There we go, full screen. Okay, so I'm going to skip some of the other things that you can read, which is about locker usage. And unless you want to hear something specific, about the traffic in the buildings from the managers, board members, we'll talk about the most recent pandemic health order changes, because we were kind of thrown for a loop last week.
Oh,
And we were thrown for a loop, yes. So what has happened is that I'll back to normal. Okay. And then the very next day, the CDC comes out with its recommendations or its guidance that anyone who is fully vaccinated can behave like pre-pandemic. So it kind of put everybody in a, okay, well, the governor is still saying that if you're a library and you're a public place, then people have to mask, but then somebody else is saying, so it took the state several days to come out with an amended order that actually addresses this little window between May 14th and June 2nd. But basically it does allow right now through June 1st, people who are fully vaccinated do not have to do the masking, the social distancing inside or outside, but non-vaccinated people inside or outside, but non-vaccinated people do have to follow the masking and the social distancing.
So that means we must come up with a library COVID passport. That people, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know you are, but you have a really good straight face, Mark.
You know, because how do you know if they're vaccinated?
Well,
You know?
you do not know. We cannot ask for proof. I mean, it was just like with the masks. You tell people that masks are required.
Right,
They say I have an
right.
exception. You leave it at that.
They're calling it the honor system.
Well,
Yeah.
and my assessment is that in our areas where we have libraries, we aren't going to see masks except for those people who might have health concerns and could not get vaccines or, and want to protect themselves, and they'll do that for that purpose.
Yeah.
But I suspect that, as of May 14th or whenever people got the information,
Yeah.
we're maskless, so we're
Yeah,
not.
That's right. That is their
It's hot, yes.
Yeah.
So we, just today, OLC provided library directors with some information that actually had an updated posting that we can put on the front doors that cover this time period, because we still, as a public agency, are under what the governor has said, we have to do. So it's going to be posted. This is what people are supposed to do. They have to make their own decisions. Just as before, we did not want to put our staff members in the position of being mask police. We're not going to be doing it now. It's not, but we have to follow those guidelines. So both as patrons and as staff members, if you're fully vaccinated now through June 1, you can do everything in pre-pandemic mode. If you are not fully vaccinated, I would even entertain the notion of, if a staff member of mine has been off because they've had COVID and have the antibodies, that to me also is vaccinated. And so we can have discussion about whether they need to be masked and in what situations. But that's the way we have to operate through June 1. June 2, 12 and 1 second, 12 a.m. 1 second. It's
difficult. I have two nieces on both sides of my family who refuse to have a vaccination, and they don't even wear masks, just so irritating.
But it's over now.
It's over.
And there's
It's,
nothing we're gonna be able to say or do,
That-
and
that's-
you're on an honor system, and you know people are gonna fly their butts off.
that's,
That's
and,
right.
And there's nothing we can do.
and that's right. It's a
Absolutely.
it's
So
a,
I guess they'll pass and we'll keep going.
well, and so what we will do, out of, I think, prudence, is we will leave the hand sanitizer out where we've
Right,
had it.
what you
We
said.
will make masks available to
Right,
anyone who
good,
wants to
excellent.
use them.
Absolutely.
We'll keep spaces between our public computers for the time being. We'll keep the social distancing spots on the floor until they, are worn or, peel off, whatever. So we will do those things just to provide those who may not be as comfortable
Right,
because, only really a technical switch has flipped. I mean, we've just been given word. The conditions have been gradually changing underneath as vaccination has occurred, as people have been, getting sick and getting the antibodies. So we just have to deal with what we've been given, and that's what we'll do.
But I also like it from, that extra liability situation. It's
I
not
knew you'd like
something We have to do,
No.
there's no mandate,
Yeah.
but we're doing
Doing
it, and I love that.
Mhm.
That's an awesome.
It's
idea.
just, and we also, we actually, the management team had met on Friday, well, I was gonna say Friday morning, but the poor managers, I kept them busy for several hours in a meeting. And we had talked about already getting rid of the quarantining and doing that as of materials.
Right.
And getting rid of that as of June 2nd. I kind of pulled them this morning and I said, we knew that even before COVID doesn't spread by stuff,
Yeah,
and
right.
so it was really just a way to help our public understand that we're doing everything we possibly can to not make this worse than it needs to be. So I believe that we decided we would go ahead and discontinue quarantining materials now, but we will still clean them when they're returned.
And yeah, because that's what the science says.
Yeah, that's what the
You're
science
not gonna
says.
get it from in-services.
And so that's what we're doing, unless any board members have any other things that they think we should be doing to address these new conditions, or have any problem with that approach to
No, I like it.
Just go with the flow, I
Yeah.
guess.
go with the flow. We're all liberated, aren't we now?
We are.
Liberated.
We are liberated. Yes.
And then just, I included summer reading brochure, the one that we do for all of the branches, and that
Really cute.
it has just the major events. Their branches are also doing,
It's so
weekly
cute.
programs. And so might want to see the branch's individual flyer to get, those further details, but I'm really proud of our youth team. They've worked really hard. They've really been doing double duty because they have been preparing for in-person activities and events, and they've also been preparing a full options for virtual as well. So anybody who either can't make it for some reason or doesn't feel comfortable
Right.
coming, there are plenty of opportunities to see story times or do fun Friday things or movie night through our YouTube channel. So the youth team has really done a lot of work, and I'm really proud of all their effort.
Does it get any better than Dad's Donuts and Dogs?
I don't
Come
know.
on.
No.
Does it get any better?
Is
than
that, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's Amber's thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
rock Amber.
And the other thing is they also worked very hard and found a cooperative way to do something together. So they're having the Christmas in July, which is bringing the reindeer that would have come at Christmas time, but they're coming in July. So that group is coming to Georgetown, and all of the buildings are making that a program for all of them. So hopefully we'll drive some traffic down here, and they'll all get a chance to do that. So.
Awesome.
So yes, lots of good stuff coming. We talked about the trustee town hall sessions, and then summer feeding is still going on. They're still allowing us waivers so that we can, hand out, the week's worth of snacks, meals at a time. But the school year program ends this week, and then there's a little break before it starts, and we'll start it up again when summer reading program starts. So
Okay.
lots of good stuff going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any committee reports?
Yep.
Nope. Okay, on to the Georgetown Facility Project. We have the Library Design Associates. They're meeting May 4th, 2021. And we have a public survey, consultant opportunities with Orange Boy and Holy Cow Consulting.
Yes.
This is
So,
very interesting.
yeah, so I don't know, Tanya, not to put you on the spot, if you're able to speak to the meeting that we had with Library Design. I didn't know if you wanted to share any insights that you had.
I think that Matt has a good handle on what we're looking for and what we need to do. I think now it's just a matter of getting our ducks in a row as far as the project, the details, and finding who we want to go with that can facilitate the community input portion of the project. And then we need to just make sure that we keep our funders in the loop.
I think that was very well put. And I will just make a comment. So Orange Boy is a Columbus area based company that has done a lot of consulting with libraries in Cincinnati. I mean, a lot of libraries around the area and nationally. They have a software platform that they are very interested in using to help with the data collection and management. It's called Savannah. I feel in some ways that they really want us to use that platform more than to help with, the consulting, the actual community survey part, but they will do that part. So we had a meeting with them last week. It was within the last week, and got some numbers, but have asked them to kind of go back and do some tweaking, and so that we can actually see this in action better. We had a very, if you ever watched anyone share their screen on a Zoom meeting and you're watching a mouse go zip, 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 click, click, maybe it's my old brain, but it was one of those, I'm not willing to pay that kind of money for what I just saw there. So they're developing a more in-depth demonstration for us. Holy Cow Consulting, Kathleen and Harold, that name may be familiar to you. I don't know, Barb, if you were around in 2000. Okay, so very shortly after we had all branches up and running. So this would have been 2001, maybe 2002. I struggling for a year here. We used them to survey because here we are, we're now a library system, and we need to figure out who we're not reaching, who we are reaching, what kinds of hours, all those kinds of things. And at that time, it might have been even 2003, 2004, because we had a little blip of talking about a potential levy at that time. So part of it was to help gather information about the library's how the library was perceived, all that kind of thing. So we used them for that purpose at that time. And, I knew the name, and I thought to myself, well, okay, I need something to compare what Orange Boy is giving us. And I reached out to them, and they were having a meeting with them on Monday to look at now they actually provided on their website a sample of their survey, some of the survey questions, obviously not all the data analysis, but my sense is because they were not promoting at that level any kind of we want you to buy our software and continue using it, that might be the kind of a service that we want, because we can do it one and done. And then we might even want to be able to use it to survey our other communities as well. So we're still working on that, but I think we will be much more successful if we use a professional group to design the survey because we are not social scientists who know all about survey design and getting the right answers from people. And so I think it'll be money well spent. So that's where some of the details anyway about who is Orange Boy and holy cow.
So one of the issues the last time around, I think they were pulling names and addresses from the poll records, and we had to determine how they were going to reach out to unregistered voters. Didn't we deal with that?
I think you are right, Harold. They do use voter registration for their main, and of course, obviously, part of the reasoning behind that is if you're going to be using this for potential levy, you're getting information from your voters. But I think we had a list of other community representatives that would have given us additional input. So that's a good point, and I'm writing it down.
Is SEO willing to let us use our database that's with them to facilitate this project?
They may, I'll ask. I think that's it for that topic.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Uh-huh.
Number 7, we need a motion to approve replacement of the Mount Orab HVAC unit by Dan Volts Mechanical Services per the proposal in pink at a cost not to exceed $10,000.
Pretty in pink.
It looks good, yeah.
Move.
Okay. Yeah. A second.
Mark,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes,
Tracy,
Yes.
Kathleen.
done deal.
Okay, thank you. Number 8, trustee term, June 27th, 2021 to June 26th, 2028, currently held by Harold Showalter.
So last month, Harold had indicated his willingness to renew his term.
Wow.
And so we said that we would make sure it's on the agenda this month so that I have something official to be able to say to the appointing body, the board is in agreement with this. So it doesn't have to be a motion, but if it would be reflected in the minutes, if the board is in favor of
Did
this.
you vote on this yet? Is everybody in agreement?
I don't know.
I don't. Do we need to have some discussion?
Absolutely. Have some discussion.
We don't reject anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. That is marvelous, Carol.
Awesome.
That is really
I'm like, what
marvelous.
are we doing?
Sometimes
I could not help.
I wonder, I think, I'm not.
Mark has been alone in front of his computer for way too long.
Way too much fun.
He's across town.
Way too much fun. Okay, so number 9, we need a motion to approve the contract with the State Library of Ohio for statewide delivery service for the period of July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2023. Price per stop, $34.13. Total annual contract fee, $15,972.84.
I make a motion, we accept it.
Should what? Oh, sorry, typo. It's not a 2-year. It's a one. Yes,
Okay,
yes. Sorry, they're right beside each other on the keyboard and I goofed.
do we have a
I
motion?
think Karen moved.
I did. It's till 26.
2022.
2022.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
one-
fine.
I'll
That's all right.
second.
Thanks.
Okay.
This was overall a 7% increase in the total statewide contract. And this year, now the state did a 2-year contract, but we may see pricing. I don't know. I would suspect might see some pricing adjustments, or branches may choose different delivery days. And that's why I only did us for 1 year.
Okay.
But this new provider does libraries in 3 other states, I think. So they really know
Oh, okay.
library shipping, which will
Okay,
be,
all right.
so 7% increase is not so bad, but this first year of the contract, the state is using some of its pandemic fund money
Mhm.
to help underwrite this cost.
Oh, good,
So,
good.
so, yeah, so it's very, very affordable.
All right, so we moved on that.
I need to go through the list.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
So we had Karen and Barb, Mark,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes,
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
and Kathleen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Number 10, a motion to approve the SEO Consortium Services Contract with State Library Board of Ohio, July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022 for the annual fee of $23,416.11.
Can we just do that one?
No, this is the contract that we have with SEO for all of their services, the circulation, the cataloging, the
Okay.
public
Okay.
catalog, all of
Okay.
that, yes. And we just today got those numbers, which is why, yes,
This is what you added.
this is what I
Okay.
added.
Okay.
This was not on the original agenda. This is what I added, yes.
It's nice. It's.
Yeah,
There's an update. or-
Yes, there's an, yeah,
Okay.
somewhere I've gotten
this
it.
last motion, does this last motion cover or include the delivery service?
It's a general service fee, $21,864, catalog fee, $752, and a public catalog enhancement at $800.
So no, Harold, this is separate. The delivery contract was the 15,972.84, and then just this morning in a meeting with SEO, they gave us the numbers for their contract for the circulation services, circulation, cataloging, that SEO app, self-service checkout, all of that. So I figured, well, if we've got the numbers, then we might as well approve it. So because we'll be getting a bill come July 1.
So it's 22,000 plus.
Yes, it's $23,416.11, and it actually did not change from last year.
Oh, good. That's a bonus. That's a bonus.
Okay, good show.
So we need a motion?
To enter executive session.
Not yet.
No,
No,
no.
right.
Oh, no.
Yeah, good vote on this other one first,
Let's vote
then
on
we'll
10.
move it. Yes.
First, we're on 10. I'm moving five.
Sorry about that.
9.
Did we get a second?
Did Barb motion?
Yeah, I motioned.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
Anybody?
Second.
Have you all forgotten how to in the
Hey,
meeting?
it's just so exciting.
I know it. I know it.
Mark,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to enter executive session to consider the employment of public employees.
I make a motion that we enter executive.
And Harold.
And Harold, yeah, we got
Second.
Karen and Harold.
Good show.
Mark,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Kathleen.
So,
And Ms. Lynn, I have 6 minutes.
I know. So, managers, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being here. Any parting words?
Bye.
And I need to turn off the recording and the YouTube live here.